If you've ever wondered how to make a movie, this is one way to do it. Take one script, one top director, one top cameraman, 78 elaborate sets, 128 dancers and musicians, 132 skilled technicians, 1,400 extras, 185 bit players, 8 featured players, and 1 chimpanzee. Most of all, you must season well with leading men such as Paul Newman, Robert Mitchum, Dean Martin, Gene Kelly, Bob Cummings, Dick Van Dyke. And a heroine worthy of their attention, Shirley MaClaine. Put these ingredients together, stir vigorously for 12 weeks, and you have a $5 million enterprise. Tonight on Hollywood and the Stars, an unusual story of an unusual movie. What a way to go. An extravaganza in the making. November 1963. The cast of What a Way to Go holds a party on a vast sound stage at 20th Century Fox Studios. Shooting on the picture is completed, and whenever that happens, such celebrations are traditional. It lets off steam, and since dozens of newsmen are invited, the publicity doesn't do any harm either. For the star, Shirley MaClaine, 3 months of intense work before the cameras is over. But for producer Arthur Jacobs, this is a high point in a $5 million project he has lived with for nearly 2 years. It all began in New York in a house on 95th Street. Arthur Jacobs has bought a story and commissioned Comden and Green to write the screenplay. Their movie credits include such hits as Singing in the Rain, Auntie Mame, and The Bells Are Ringing. Now they're embarked on What a Way to Go.
Well, when she's in Paris, she meets this crazy painter. He's invented a wild painting machine, and it's composed of a lot of different arms that stretch out, and they're controlled by sound.
Various noises.
Yeah, he bangs on things, tinware and pots and pans, and when he does these noises, the arms reach out into different types of paint, and then they're controlled, and they go up to the canvas and start painting.
Yep.
And then one day, accidentally, he puts a record on, and the music starts to play, and the machine responds to the music.
Like, for instance, the finale of Tchaikovsky's Fourth Symphony.
We always have to cut back after all these parts to the analyst's office, where Louise is telling her story, and she's lying on the couch.
And he said something profound like, well, shall we begin at the beginning, or please continue?
Oh, yes. Let me see. I was born Louisa May Foster
in the small town of Crawleyville, Ohio. Oh, I can't understand it. I never wanted money. All I ever wanted was to lead a simple life.
When Adolph and I found out that Shirley MaClaine was being cast as Louisa, the central character, we were delighted, because we needed somebody very versatile. She was going to be called upon to play herself as a young girl, and then later a beatnik bohemian living in Paris, then an extravagantly dressed high society millionairess, later a girl married to a movie star, caught up in Hollywood glamour, and at another point, a very satirically, wildly sexy girl. And Shirley is able to make these transitions and make them all convincing and marvelous. As for the men in Shirley's life, we had a modern artist who's played by Paul Newman, the king of finance, Robert Mitchum, a very arrogant playboy, Dean Martin, the egotistical movie star, Gene Kelly, an insecure psychiatrist, Bob Cummings, and the sweet, bumbling, small-town philosopher, Dick Van Dyke.
Most of What a Way to Go is shot on the back lots and sound stages at 20th Century Fox. The director and Arthur Jacobs' producing partner is an Englishman, J. Lee Thompson. Thompson is well known for such films as Tiger Bay and The Guns of Navarone. Now he's tackling something different. A freewheeling, madcap comedy about the adventures of a well-meaning girl who seems to put a hex on each of her 5 husbands.
Now, to get 7 or 8 stars together, approximately all at the same time, is very, very difficult. All these people, because they played not guest appearances, but episodes in the film, we couldn't tie them down because they had other films to go to. Outside of those technical problems, the picture was not difficult. It was a joy to make. We had a great deal of fun, and that makes me nervous because I am told that if you have fun on the set and feel happy, which everyone did, that you are bound to have a bomb.
Action! No, they got to go together on action. Please.
Yeah, would you guys get it right?
Dean Martin and Dick Van Dyke play several scenes together. I found this very interesting to see 2 comedians with very different approaches. Dean Martin is a master of the throwaway technique, of the casual. Dick Van Dyke is very different in his approach. Now, putting these 2 people together was wonderful because they didn't clash. They were right after one rehearsal.
Hi, Lenny.
Edgar, you better watch where you're going.
Yeah, you're right, Lenny. I was looking at the sun.
Aren't you angry?
Why should I be angry? It's my fault.
Well, then maybe we could fight.
Oh, there's no sense doing that, Lenny. You'd kick the heck out of me. All that football and golf and tennis and everything. You're a real winner, Lenny.
What are you, an orthodox coward?
Bob Cummings plays a psychiatrist in What a Way to Go. A psychiatrist more neurotic than his high society clients. Although all his scenes are played with Shirley MaClaine, Cummings' close-ups can be shot while she is off the set rehearsing for another sequence. And this is part of the basic technique of any film actor, the ability to deliver lines to someone who isn't really there.
Okay, now let's have perfect silence, please, and then we'll shoot. Now you could read a little bit more of the dialogue. Okay, right. So, get ready, please. Action.
Go on, please.
Well, I was born Louisa May Foster in a small town of Crawleyville, Ohio.
Oh, your mother. What was your mother like?
Motion picture prop departments are accustomed to bizarre requests, but What a Way to Go comes up with a few surprises. A typical challenge for studio technical wizard Herb Cheek is the construction of a champagne glass 6 1/2 feet high. The glass is an engineering triumph. Plastics experts said it couldn't be done. As the major prop in a dream sequence, it must hold 60 gallons of simulated champagne and 2 human beings floating on a foam rubber mattress. This bubbling boudoir is a typical accessory in Shirley MaClaine's fantasy life with the richest man in the world, played by Robert Mitchum. Having just completed another film in India, Mitchum flies into Hollywood only hours before his first scenes are scheduled. Conveniently, his first meeting with Shirley MaClaine is staged at an airport.
Where are you going?
New York, Miami, Irkutsk, any place you'd like to go. I just flew in this evening from New York for a party. I stayed a half an hour and I'd had it. I don't like parties.
Just put on your Superman suit, fly away home.
That's right. And there it is.
Equipping Mitchum with his privately owned jetliner in the film is an intricate, expensive, and precisely timed operation. The plane is rented for the evening from a commercial airline, and within a few hours, swarms of technicians must completely transform its exterior. Then the company must work non-stop through the night, rushing to complete the airport sequence. For the airline company anxiously awaits the return of its plane. And by the dawn, it has been stripped of its movie makeup and is headed for Chicago with a full load of passengers. For scenes aboard the plane, a mock-up is constructed back at the studio. 142 feet long, it exactly duplicates the dimensions of the airliner's interior. Here, director of photography Leon Shamroy sets his cameras to capture what is possibly the first airborne harem in movie history. The script calls for Robert Mitchum to be attended eagerly by the most delectable girls central casting can provide. Off-screen and on, Robert Mitchum is known as an exceedingly nonchalant character. And if any experience can shake his composure, it's obvious that he has not yet encountered it. In What a Way to Go, Shirley MaClaine's wardrobe is all by itself a major production. A studio press release reports that costume designer Edith Head is given $500,000 and told to spend it all outfitting Shirley MaClaine.
To select the 73 costumes of Shirley's from, I guess, hundreds of sketches was pretty difficult, so we got the idea of improvising a sort of make-believe art exhibit, and we literally plastered the walls with sketches. I think Shirley MaClaine is really one of the great clothes horses of all time, and I mean that as a compliment, because she has the rare ability to translate herself into any costume she's wearing. You see, she adapts her mannerisms, her movements to the costume that she happens to have on. And as much as a designer hates to admit this, I think that Shirley does more for costumes than costumes do for her.
Other members of the cast are more simply attired. Candy, a 3-year-old chimpanzee, needs only a couple of smocks to play her role as a veritable Picasso among apes. Candy's performance is hailed by cast and crew alike. And with her first movie role, she wins one of the most secure positions Hollywood can offer, a long-term contract with the Beverly Hillbillies. A machine that creates modern art. This is a scriptwriter's brainstorm that becomes a prop man's headache. It reportedly takes 12,000 man-hours to build 10 of these complex contraptions. In the film, however, the whole job is passed off as the work of one Paris bohemian, Paul Newman. While shooting the Paul Newman sequence, director Thompson tackles some of his most demanding scenes. As usual, the pressure is on. Newman must soon begin another picture. Shirley MaClaine has been sidetracked for costume fitting. A stand-in must take her place during rehearsals.
Right, drop.
C'est votre peinture inspire d'une...
Merci, madame.
Congratulations, master. This is the first voiceover in abstract art since Kandinsky.
I am infinitely and irrepressibly pleased.
La translation, Mark.
Now, just let's try something here. Let's see. I think it works fine with you're there because you're surrounded with... I think going to the painting is going to get us into trouble. It's very true that in a scene like the gallery scene, when you have to rehearse over and over again, fatigue does set in. Suddenly, Paul Newman, who was wonderful 2 hours ago, something's gone from him. He could never be bad, but the spark has gone, and he knows it's gone. We all know it's gone. It's very difficult. Gone are the days, because of economics, where you say, well, goodbye, everybody, come back tomorrow morning and we'll do it again. You cannot afford that kind of luxury.
Right, let's do it again. And now if we could begin to just tighten it up slightly. It's very nearly correct. It just needs, again, just here, a little, if you could give it just a little quicker.
That's it, madame.
What a fine dress. Thank you. My husband painted it for me. Votre peinture.
Merci, madame. Congratulations, master. I'm insufferably honored.
Congratulations, s'il vous plaît. Frida and I are very happy.
At last, painting which is music and music which is painting. How do you do it?
Joe, how can anyone explain the workings of the inner man? Actually, the act of creation might best be described as pure animal instinct.
If only Beethoven were alive, he'd just hear this painting.
Ah, yes, Paul Ludwig, I think he'd be very pleased.
Your paintings make me want to kneel, pray, and cry.
Well, in that case, Baroness, why don't you buy one? Then you can kneel and pray and cry at home.
Gene Kelly plays Shirley MaClaine's fourth husband, a small-time hoofer who becomes an overnight sensation. His role allows Gene Kelly to cut loose with a series of spoofs on renowned performances like Rex Harrison in My Fair Lady, Frank Sinatra in Pal Joy, and Richard Burton in Cleopatra.
What? Caesar!
Cut, Fred.
2 days after starting the musical sequence, however, shooting abruptly stops. Shirley MaClaine is immobilized, suffering from a badly blistered foot. Producer Jacobs must sweat it out. While Shirley's foot heals, 34 dancers in the chorus remain on full salary. Rehearsals go on, however. Gene Kelly carries almost total responsibility for these dance numbers, since he is both performer and choreographer.
Cut.
Directing a number and appearing in it simultaneously pose a lot of problems, but these we have to meet as they occur. For example, if I feel that something isn't right and I want to look at it, I'll ask my assistant to dance in for me, as we say. Then I'll look at it from the floor, then through the camera, and we can correct whatever faults there are. Since dancing is such a specific and precise art form, we don't have the problem of emotional range that you have in acting. Therefore, it's much simpler to direct yourself in a dance number than it would be in a dramatic scene. I work very closely with J. Lee Thompson on the staging and the style of the number, that is, on the direction it would take, because the number itself must relate. It must conform to what's happening in the rest of the script. A lot of people don't realize that even though you're making fun of dancing, you have to work just as hard to do that as you would if you were playing it straight, especially a satirical number done with broad pantomime. You have to be tough. You have to work very hard as a dancer. Yet there's a certain lightness and fun in rehearsals that you never can get when you're shooting. Because when the cameras start turning, the money comes into play. The cost of working goes up. And of course, it's best if you can make everything work the first few times. But when you have several dozen people dancing behind you and lights and cues that have to work, playback music that has to come on at certain times, and a moving camera, well, it's very difficult to get it in a few takes. However, we always try.
Since from the New York World's Fairgrounds, in a subway switching yard, there unfold events which will help shape the destiny of What a Way to Go. This is part of an elaborate publicity campaign to promote the film. A subway car will be painted shocking pink, and the interior festooned with gold lame, rhinestone ornaments, Baroque furniture, red velvet upholstery, and just a sprinkling of ostrich feathers.
I think you're making a big mistake, because there's nothing wrong with this pole. There's a problem here.
I think we ought to soften the line, because after all, as the people come through to greet Shirley, it will have a value.
Well, I want it to look elegant, and I don't want it to look like a Minsky show.
Well, I don't know.
It's cheap.
When you gotta go.
I think we ought to soften the
It's
line.
not New Year's Eve.
I think we're in agreement then.
Absolutely.
Much
Right.
more in the period.
I'll buy that.
Get rid of these.
This is a much more beautiful.
I think there's one in town that's about 4 foot long. A double bird.
Yeah.
What kind of a bird would you put in there?
Well, I think that parakeets are about the best.
And so, in the same zany spirit that inspired it, What a Way to Go is completed. The picture has come in on schedule and on budget, and there have been no temper tantrums to delight the gossip columnists, no world-shaking scandals to shock the public. In fact, after 3 months of shooting, everyone concerned is still on speaking terms. This may seem routine in any other business, but in the Hollywood of today, it is no small achievement.
Stay tuned now for the Couch Classics as Channel 2 presents Devil's Mountain. Coming up next.